What are you resisting as a woman? Since we all have this time and pause this rat race that humanity is usually involved, we have an opportunity to simplify and prioritize and really tap into our truth, our inner truth, get clear, drop all the excuses, and really focus on very important things, what are important for us women. It will also help us to become powerful feminine leaders in all areas of our life, because feminine leadership is not just going there and running those corporations. It's not about getting involved with politics. It starts with ourselves and our families. It starts with our intimate relationships. It starts with our household. So let's take a look together. And I really invite you to take your journal and a pen and write down 2 very powerful and deep, truthful statements that I'm sure many of you can relate. Ready? Resistance and confusion is pain. Resistance and confusion is pain. Clarity and acceptance is bliss. Clarity and acceptance is bliss. So I invite you to close your eyes and repeat these sentences inside yourself. Resistance and confusion is pain. Clarity and acceptance is bliss. And just notice how you feel. What is your emotional response? What comes to your mind? Any particular challenge, situation? How does resistance feel when you experience it? How does confusion feel when you experience it? And then look on the other side and experience clarity and acceptance. This is very powerful practice because it shows us that we all have a lot of resistance, and that resistance can create lots of confusion as well if we don't acknowledge it and if we don't become really clear on what we are resisting. I'd like to take you deeper and really help you to simplify this practice and really help you understand yourself, so you guide yourself out of any confusion or any resistance. All right. Resistance can be external, when we resist to accept something that is going on externally in our life, in our relationships, in our family, at work, in the world right now. Like, many people feel really resistant to accept that, we have to stay at home and we're stuck and there is lots of uncertainty. So we also feel confused of what to do, what's gonna come next, what we have to focus on. But the problem with that is that we just don't know how to deal with these kind of things. We're trained to look at the market and see the solutions and fulfill our desires, right? Like, society is taking care of us. We're living in society. Everything is there for us to consume, right? We're pretty much focused on consumption. And it's rare when we take a break and look deep inside ourselves. So what doesn't feel fulfilling? What doesn't feel right? What is the shortage? Like, what what you don't have but you really want, right? We forget to look deeper and see what are our deepest desires, something that is not offered on the market, right? Including because I'm a relationship coach, including the relationship market, how relationships should be. They show you, they teach you, they role model for you, they tell you what is right and wrong. And then when that doesn't feel right to you, you can feel confused. So, okay, I got it, everything they were teaching, and I'm still not fulfilled, and I'm still not satisfied. Now, if we look at our feminine side, it's actually not just us. It goes all the way to our great, 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 great mothers, because women historically were not allowed to want something, to ask for something, receive something, and everything what was created a long time ago, it's still going on. We're still living in a very patriarchal system, right? So women never gave themselves permission to look at their desires, accept their desires, go for what they really desire, and ask for it, right? We were shamed, we were punished, we were judged, right? Everything what is going on right now is based on masculine principles and patriarchal system. It's not to blame men, because they were born into this system as well, and they have their own big challenges, by the way, including not being allowed to embrace their emotions and their vulnerability, right? It's not easy to be a man in the modern world as well. But we don't want to focus on why that happened and who is responsible for creating such system. We just need to acknowledge what it is and not to resist the fact that this is how things work in the modern world. So as women, we often don't allow ourselves to connect with our desires and really get activated on the emotional level, because once you become aware what your desire is, you get activated on the emotional level, right? You get passionate. You want to do something about that. You want to act on it. And if you feel like you're not gonna get it, or if you feel like you're not supposed to get it, you don't deserve it, you're not worthy, you're not enough, or it's not possible, it's not obtainable, this is how a psyche actually blocks access to these desires. And many of us will even forget what we personally, deep inside our heart, what we really desire. And we look at the market, go in the market and choose what you want to pick, right? We have forgotten how to connect with our deepest feminine desires. So I would like to offer this practice to look at your resistance, and not from the place of like, we're gonna push through resistance, just do it, no matter what, and be disciplined, and you can do it. Not that way. That is the masculine way and doesn't work for us women. And if we try to do it, we just find ourselves in constant struggle. We just don't enjoy our life. We don't enjoy the process itself. And for women, it's very important to enjoy the process itself as well. So I'm going to use a relationship as an example of how to work through your resistance, really get clear on your desires, really create that acceptance and clarity so you can move forward with joy, self-worth, excitement, and know that everything that you desire you actually can receive, and you don't need to resist taking action on it, because you know how to work through all of that, and you know how to access those deep subconscious fears that hold you back because of our heritage, right? Because it's ancestral genetic memory of our previous generations of our female lineage. So we can work through this together, and this is an excellent time to do that. All right, let's focus on the practical steps that I created here. So what can we do about our resistance? Resistance, whether we resist external stuff or situation, or internal, like we resist to connect with our desires, we resist to do what we love because we feel we are not allowed. We have to be practical, we have to be functional, we have to perform, like we have to do all the things that masculine system is dictating us. So the resistance can cause this confusion first about our desires, but also avoidance, right? Avoidance to look there, face it, and work on it. It can cause creating all these distractions, focusing on distractions, allowing distraction to become a focus, right? It can create excuses, like we give ourselves excuses why we don't do something that we really love to do, or what we want. We don't ask for what we want to receive. We don't focus on what we want to create and how we want to live, right? So we create excuses, and excuses is a very harmful form of self-deception, because if you live all your life giving yourself excuses why you don't do this, or why you don't live this way, or why don't you feel this way, you're basically wasting your lifetime, not even knowing who you are, not exploring your potential, not creating what you're meant to create, and sharing your gifts with the world, right? And we can also procrastinate. Sometimes we become aware of what we want, right? But still that resistance is very strong, so we start to procrastinate. So I wanted to add this piece with this 4 outcomes that can come up out of the resistance. So what can we do about that? Step number 1, let's break it down. Step number 1 is acknowledging your resistance. It's very important to acknowledge your resistance first before you try to change it or release it. That's masculine way, as I mentioned before. Pushing through it, it's not gonna work, because it will come back and you feel it again, and you will never enjoy the process of creation or whatever you're doing. So acknowledging your resistance and acknowledging the reasons why you're resisting something. Acknowledging the reasons, because usually what is hidden behind is a very powerful reason for you to resist, right? Let's say it's fear of rejection, it's fear of not receiving for what you want. As I said, the psyche, as soon as the psyche gives you permission to want something, and you give yourself this emotional experience of like really being passionate, of really craving that, and then when you don't receive it, it's a very painful experience, right? It's almost like on the physical level, it's very painful. Like when you fall in love and you really want to be with that person, it's very painful to not receive that love or that opportunity to share this love experience with that person, right? So that's why it's very important to acknowledge the resistance and its origins, the reasons why you're resisting. That's number 1. And you can do it through journaling, through taking time, prioritizing your personal time with yourself on this journey of self-discovery. Number 2, I made some notes here, looking deeper into your true heart desires, right? What are the deepest heart desires that you have as a woman in the feminine way? They are different than goals. Don't confuse your desires with the goals. The goals without desire, it's very dry kind of agenda. It's like something external, like you have to do this, you have to achieve this goal, because they have so much pressure, right? But desire is different. Desire gives you passion and fulfillment, just being in the process of moving forward, what you want to receive. Desire actually embraces the process as a part of fulfillment. So it's very, very different. So working with your desires is very, very important, and it's very tricky for modern people because we got used to want what we should want. The society tells us, go in the market and choose what you want. And you go and choose, but that's not what you really want, right? What you think that you should want that, but you don't, right? That's how people get married. They think, okay, go and choose a husband to get married, create a family, and you do that, and you don't find yourself happy, you don't find yourself fulfilled because you are focusing on external, on the container rather than the content, right? And that's the difference, right, between goals and desires. The goals have to be fueled by desires. This is when it's actually enjoyable to achieve them and enjoy the process as well. So dig deeper and find out what are your deepest heart desires. From my experience working with people, with women, this is a very, very tricky thing, and we start usually working on our desires beforehand to see what is coming up to the surface. And most of the time, they are all desires that women think they should want, what they watched in their movies, what they learned from life experience, what their parents have, their grandparents have, what other people have, and they think they should get that as well. And they forget to really dig inside and find it inside themselves as an emotional experience already within yourself. That deep craving, that deep longing, that deep subtle impulse of like, oh wow, I want that. So this is number 2. And it can be tricky, and it's important to get clear and not to dwell on confusion, because when you're confused and you think that you should want something but you don't have emotional response to that thing, this is not the thing. Now, step number 3 is accepting your desires, because you can discover that you want it and then you just give up on it and they say, oh, that's not gonna happen, oh, that's not possible, oh, that's not obtainable, or I don't deserve that, I'm not enough to get that. Whatever your story is, behind it, on belonging, unworthiness, abandonment, whatever. So it's very important to accept your desires, to own them within, right? That's the queenhood, that's the way of the queens. Even if you don't have it in your external life, physical life yet in the physical form, you can own it inside of yourself and not to give in to anything smaller internally. Also, you can acknowledge and accept the reasons why you're resisting receiving what you desire, right? You can just say, well, I'm also aware of that, and I accept those reasons. They're all valid. It's validating your resistance. That's the relationship that you can have to basically give no space for resistance to grow. Once you acknowledge and accept it, what can happen? You accept it already. It can grow from that place. The next step is creating an intention, a powerful intention to drop all excuses and distractions. To drop all excuses and distractions. Especially excuses. Excuses is a form of self-deception. If you give yourself excuses, you're trying to deceive yourself. So you become unconscious, or you become semi-conscious about your choices and the way you live your life. No way. You have to drop that. This is not the way of the queen. Distraction, you have to find a way to balance it out. Sometimes we do need to distract ourselves. Like entertainment is basically distraction. It's the way to chill, recharge your battery, and it can be part of your desire. Maybe it's not your central thing, but it can be something that make you feel good in the moment. So just knowing when to give yourself that entertainment and when to focus on your bigger desires, and create a good balance, not avoid making distraction a focus. That would be the central thing to work on. All right, and you have to be consistent. The last piece that I want to share about this, you have to be consistent with that. Once you get clear, once you accept what is and accept your desires, once you understand what the difference between what you have, what you experience right now, where you are, right, with all the honesty, radical honesty, and you understand what is your desire and what is the difference between these two, you can slowly start moving in the direction of your desire, of how you want these things, how you want to be loved, what kind of career you want to have, what is your soul purpose, like what are you passionate about, what do you want to create, what do you want to experience, to receive, to co-create. If you need to create a consistency of everyday practice, and that is rewiring your neural pathways of living differently and feeling differently every day, connecting with your desires versus your resistance to your desires, right? Start feeding yourself that these things are possible, and even something is not going to happen in this time, is still worth moving forward with that and giving yourself that emotional experience of being in the process of moving forward with your desires. So you need certain type of routine, discipline. Like, we are mothers, like it sounds like masculine, but we are mothers, and mothers have to have routine and discipline to take care of their children. So it's the same thing that you can take care of yourself, moving consistently, even if it's slow, forward with what you really desire, what you really want in your life, how you want it, and enjoy that process. I love to give you an example with relationship and intimacy, and that will be my next video, because almost everybody can relate to this topic, and almost everybody is in relationship, used to be in relationship, want to be in relationship. Wherever you are, you can relate to that, and it's very vivid and very tangible example where you can actually start doing that. And many women will probably relate to the challenges that I'm going to share.